Thanks, Tom, for those great survey results. Can you still hear me? I'm a little farther away from the mic, but it's following? Okay. I have to say, as well as all those concerns and interests that you answered in the survey, one of the big things this year seemed to be a really big concern about dress code. What to wear to the SMART Summit, and I have no idea why that was. So many questions this year, what should I wear? And I answered casual elegance because I figured, you know, that's rolling up your sleeves attire. So I just wanted to say you look great, you did well, you're casually elegant. And I hope that you're ready to roll up your sleeves. We're at a turning point for transportation, as Tom talked about, here in the Southeast Michigan, here in the US, and globally, with half the world and soon to be 2/3 of the world living in city regions, and with challenges like energy and climate change and all the stuff that Tom mentioned, and a rapidly growing aging population, increasing social disparity, all that stuff, we've got a lot on our plate as transportation thinkers and professionals. And we've also got some paradigm shifting to do, as our current models don't promise to sustain us into the future, and they already don't. So what's inspiring, though, about the people in the room is that we're all, in some way, from our own angle, grappling with turning around transportation. So the charge for the next 3 days is first and foremost to get to know your neighbors, connect the dots, see who you can work with to make the whole bigger than the sum of the parts, and here and across the US and around the world. And that's why we've built in big long lunches and big long breaks so that you can talk to each other. We also have an incredible lineup of presenters who are here as catalysts to dialogue. As Peter said, you could all present. This is a really active group here. It's not a kind of a come here, listen, and go away. So the presenters or catalysts are here to ask some good questions and to share some incredible success stories and to offer some frameworks for rethinking and re-understanding our work, as well as the work of the leaders making this happen, because we're set at such a turning point at the future of transportation right now. So just to kind of give you a sense of what's in store, today alone, we're going to cover a range of intimately connected topics, starting with living examples of the next transportation infrastructure from around the world. Then we'll explore new business and employment opportunities this afternoon that are related to this new infrastructure. And we'll look at what moves us about transportation tonight, what moves all of us. What are the psychological and cultural relationships and underpinnings of our transportation choices that go beyond getting from A to B? And based on that, how are we creating new visions and developing and supplying new products, new services, new technologies, new systems, new designs that tell a new story of the future of transportation? So in a word, how are we making sustainable transportation sexy? And that's just today. Tomorrow we'll be starting by exploring how our current and future transportation systems contribute to resilience and national security, or don't. And then we'll look at it all together and ask what policies and research directions will propel us forward with the kinds of new transportation systems and infrastructures we've been talking about. So we'll top off the formal program in partnership with a local focus. We're really lucky this year to be partnering with UMULI, the University of Michigan Urban Land Institute, on our session called Where the Real Estate Revolution Meets the Transportation Revolution. And besides the breaks and lunches that I mentioned, we'll also have quite a few opportunities to roll up our sleeves. We have MVIP scenario cards, we have paper prototyping, we have power mapping, so there's all sorts of opportunity to be connecting and doing. And we'll spend a lot of time Thursday, as Peter said, working deeply to advance both the research collaborative opportunities, but also our hub network cities. It's going to be our first network meeting of all the different cities that have been working around the world on integrated new mobility with SMART. And this is one of the things that I really love about this conference, is that it's a very important opportunity. A lot of people are kind of scattered around the world, and even today, people are going to be phoning in, people are WebExing in, People are phoning and WebExing into the other meetings going on later on. So it's just an extremely wonderful opportunity for the first time to bring everybody together on the Hub Network cities and actually have them meet face-to-face instead of mediated. Even though mediated is fantastic and it saves CO2 miles, it's really lovely to be here face-to-face. And of course, we're going to make room for merriment, which is really important. And both tomorrow afternoon at the reception and tomorrow night at the barn, which if you haven't heard about it, corner Tom and ask him about it or hear about it from last year. So just to sort of finish off, as I mentioned last night, all this good stuff didn't materialize out of nowhere. There's such a diverse and wonderful mix of people and institutions and organizations that have come together to make things happen. First, the leaders who've brought SMART into being. If you can stand up when I call your name, just stand up if you're with SMART. Tom Gladwin, Dave Burdish, Walt McManus, Peter was here. I can't see, so I really have to trust you to stand up. Okay. Okay, and we also have David Featherman and Elizabeth Gerber, Joe Grangs, who was here last night, Krista Gulo, Ray Holden, who's outside, Doug Kelbaugh, Jonathan Levine, who was here last night, Malcolm McCullough, June Nee, Doug Pritchett, Irv Salmin, who's coming later, Carl Simon, who's coming later, John Sullivan, and Moira Zellner, who's coming Thursday. This is a most fantastic interdisciplinary group representing everything from the Center for the Study of Complex Systems to the engineering school to the business school to the planning school to the public policy school. It's quite mind-blowing in terms of interdisciplinary participation. So I also want to make a special thanks to CARS, which is the Center for Advancing Research and Solutions for Society, which successfully incubated SMART from a home which was meant to incubate into a department and allow projects to thrive. CARS focuses on research around the deep and vexing problems of society and very active participation as opposed to just research. There's also been a really diverse and active program committee and volunteers. And if you can also stand up, you're going to see them. They have volunteer signs, and it's just been fantastic. Krista has brought together, while doing her PhD in her spare time, Krista has brought together this fantastic group of volunteers to work on this, and we've been so lucky to have the most spectacular program committee. And I'm going to be reading out the program committee later because it's a long one, and I want us to get started on the program. But we also want to recognize our new sponsors this year. The Mott Foundation is supporting our efforts here in Southeast Michigan, and the FIA Foundation is supporting our efforts worldwide. And we also thank Veolia and Sapiens for focusing their next journal issue on sustainable transportation. And last but not even close to least, we couldn't have done this without our primary sponsor, and actually primary partner, sponsor, and funder, Ford Motor Company, a truly visionary car company that distinguishes itself by thinking long-term and thinking systems and thinking paradigm shift and thinking urban transportation, which is a real breakthrough. So please, if you can, take a look at some of the Ford materials on the internet or try to corner Dave Burdish later during your time. And on that note, I'm going to introduce Dave Burdish, Manager of Sustainable Business Development for Ford, who will introduce and moderate our first session around the world in 180 minutes. Over to you, Dave.